Hi, I'm Jason,
And I'm Josh.
and this is J&J DBA Insights. And this week we'll be going over a little bit of, the end game. How are we concluding this whole thing? How are we coming up to the end here? This last course that we're in right now is 880, and we are looking at our reflection, of our time over the whole program. Josh, some thoughts?
Yeah, as you know, we come to close on 880. Defense Week is less than 2 weeks away. Starting, on March 8th, I believe, with our colleague Robert. We were lucky enough to have the summer in order to do a lot of our data analysis, which really set us up for, this last semester of being able to well, again, we had last semester where we, finished our last few chapters, but giving us this last 880 semester to really stop and think about what our dissertation actually meant, what we found, what our manager implications for management were, our areas for future research, our limitations. And we actually have, I felt like we've had the time to reread, rethink, go over that again and again, to, where it's, it's pretty much part of my life now. But it's, it's kind of been nice to slow down the pace and, um, I know we just went through residency and a lot of that was, prepping for defense and, we were in front of our colleagues, literally running through our defense slides and then, being questioned and playing the role of both the presenter or the candidate, the doctoral candidate, the first reader, second reader, or third reader. So I think that, really helped to kind of put it in perspective, but then kind of help us as we move towards Defense Week. So again, it's been I don't know. It's almost been kind of like a dream, if I want to put it like that, right? Like
Yeah,
everything's moving.
you're totally
Every
right. Like we really benefited from having that summer. So I mean, we really had our whole dissertation completed before we even really kind of stepped into 880, and just had to kind of fine tune it with edits and focusing on the implications management at the end there, like you said. And yeah, I think residency was really beneficial to run through, defense prep and slides, and get that feedback from each of the different functional readers. Um, yeah, as we close in on defense, um, you know, going to this time we go into the source, and other students research, and you can see the difference that we actually had from benefiting from having the summer to conduct all of our research versus having to do it, in consecutive steps.
100%. And as you mentioned, soars. Building up the soars, I saw it as just like I don't know if I would say it was a milestone, right? But it was something I had to check off, right? But now looking
Yeah.
back at soars, it was prep for defense. Like it was
Right.
that initial but I never looked at it like that until now. And so like things were, I'm not gonna say easier, but it was a lighter lift to now, start prepping for defense since we had all that experience prepping for SOARs. Um,
Right. Those solar slides pretty much go hand in hand with what your defense slides are. Although the defense slides are about double the amount of the time that you're talking to your topic and everything, but it really kind of sets you up, or at least gives you a good foundation to start working on your defense from.
yeah, and I know we've done a ton of editing, and again, I know, thank you for your help on editing, my paper as well.
Oh,
But again, I feel
likewise.
like this this semester has been edit, then re-edit, edit, and at one point I thought I was done editing, and I got more edits. But
Definitely,
again, I think
definitely beneficial to have a APA scrub with one of your cohort members or two, because I mean,
yeah,
things that you think that you had, oh, I got APA down, I got this, all the dots are where they are, the commas are where they need to be, and somebody just a new set of eyes, a fresh set of eyes just goes through the paper. And it's like, whoa, dude, you kind of missing
but
here and
funny funny you mention that because, like I said, I thought I'd submitted my final one, and I got feedback another round, and it was periods. I put periods at the end of my table and figure titles, which in APA you don't put periods at the end of your titles. So yeah, still you think you have everything, and then there's that again. Hopefully that's one very small thing because again I think it's pretty clean, and hopefully I think they're submitting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Right.
To the department. So
Yeah.
this is it. I mean, not it. We still have defense. We still have, we have to make it through, that next milestone, and obviously edits. But I think we're in a good spot though.
Yeah, our actual dissertation manuscripts are being submitted to uh, the the board, I guess, for
Yep.
review. For final review. So we're looking forward to the next process, which is our defense, and then upon successful defense, we're looking at our reflections. What is our next step for using our degrees out in the real world? I myself am looking forward to getting set up in a university and teaching, and kind of giving back to the next generation. That's kind of my hopes for what I'll be using my degree towards. But who knows? I mean, if I get, I'll be out in the job market and transitioning from Okinawa to Maine, and if I find something over there that I can use my degree and help further a different cause or company, then yeah, I'll definitely be looking that direction.
Yeah, same. Work for a company now, and again, I'm hoping that I can hoping that I can take this evidence based management approach and help integrate it in with kind of their business model and business function, right? Because I feel like it's a consulting firm, but as a consulting firm, everything we do is based on expertise. But I feel like with expertise comes a bias of we have always done it this way,
Wait,
right?
you
And
telling me they don't use facts already?
well, yeah, yeah. So everyone has the best way of doing things, but I think in order, something that could accompany that is this evidence-based research, right? It's better to
Actually,
have, two heads, is better than one. So again, I'm hoping that's something that I can bring to the table and present as something of value, because I know definitely, and it's part of my dissertation too, is that the government is calling for a more evidence-based management approach. Like they
mm,
want to make sure that evidence is being used. So again, I think that's definitely one way that consulting and contracting firms can find ways to better the U.S. federal government is by providing that evidence based management approach. So
not to mention that the evidence-based management approach really takes out the bias of doing it as it's always been done, kind of way of thinking.
yeah,
You know,
and I'm not saying
many
that
businesses.
the way it's always been done isn't right, but think of it like this, right? You have a doctor, right?
Mm,
And he was trained 30 years ago, right? All
right.
right. So, and you go in and you see him, right? Yeah, right. And he's like, yeah, well, we're gonna, oh, we have to cut off your arm. You're like, well, why? Well, because when I was trained, 30 years ago, this is how we did it. And be like, well, what about what does the other research say? Oh, I haven't looked at that research. I've always done this way and it's worked. Wouldn't you prefer if your doctor might have looked at some of the other research and maybe said, "Oh, hey, why don't we just give you some penicillin?" I don't even know if that's the right answer, and
Yeah.
that will solve the problem. Like,
Yeah.
that's a little
Updated
drastic, but
research.
again,
Yeah.
but again,
Updated
the
method. Yeah.
I mean, that's where evidence-based management stemmed from, though, the medical field, right? And then
Yeah.
again, taking it more for the social sciences and taking that approach. So again, just a different way of looking at it.
Mm-mm. Definitely updating and keeping up with new approaches is the only way to push forward. Well, I mean, it looks like that brings us to a conclusion of short DBA insights. I'm Jason.
And I'm Josh.
We look forward to seeing you next time.
Absorb the knowledge. Have a good one.